Hi, everyone.
Happy Sunday. Happy Euphoria
Sunday.
Day.
Happy Euphoria Day. Wow. We're back. It's already been 7 days.
7 days since a very gripping, intense season 2 premiere. We're in season 2, episode 2, so we are flying through it now.
Yeah, we are. Thank you so much for joining us
Thanks
again.
for joining us.
Yeah, on the Euphoria Aftershow, sponsored by the Hollywood Critics Association. If this is your first time, then we recommend watching our first episode that came out last week. We recapped episode 1 and gave some predictions that I think turned out to be true.
Yeah.
But we'll get into that.
We'll get into that. Thanks again for joining. My name is Ryan. This is my sister Morgan. We're happy that you're here checking out the live stream. Obviously, we're here through the Hollywood Critics Association. We both run a movie review website called Cinemacy.com. We cover indie, art house movies, all the latest stuff. So go check that out. But we are holding on movies for today because we are talking about TV. We're talking about Euphoria.
Yes.
So general reaction thoughts. We just both watched this episode.
Yeah, along with you guys. We watched it live, HBO Max, and it's insane. What I loved about this episode, I think more than the first one, which is kind of maybe a given, is that there was so much more going on.
Yeah.
Like every character had a storyline and real trauma and uphill battles that I can foresee throughout the rest of the season being just really dramatic and heavy, and everyone is struggling with something. It wasn't just kind of everyone was thrown together in a room to kind of, dance around. Like everyone was working through something in this episode.
Yeah, this one felt more of what a premiere episode might feel like, with putting all the attention onto all of the characters and advancing their storylines.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about the premiere, and it was kind of like two big set pieces with the whole Fez flashback and developing his character, and then the big party, which there's a lot going on. But yeah, we got to see a lot more from Cassie, from Maddie, from Kat, from Jules and Elliot. So like the whole gang is back. And we're gonna talk about it. But before we jump in, I do just want to mention that this episode is also brought to you in part by the Happy Labs CBD company. I think we have one of these little tins lying around. Yeah. So this is the Happy Labs CBD product. It's a CBD pressed pill. They have a few different products there. Online that you can check out. If you're unfamiliar with CBD, there's a lot of great information about the company, Happy Labs. They just make products that will give you sort of rest, relaxation. They promote healthy, happy lives.
And there's no THC, so there's no psycho element to it at all. It's really just to kind of, especially with a show like Euphoria, that is so overdrive, this kind of gives you a step back to assess from a different perspective, maybe.
Hopefully from a more relaxed one, because it's intense. If you go to thehappylabs.com, enter promo code HCA for 20% off products. Hope you enjoy it. And now, without further ado, let's jump into season 2, episode 2, Euphoria. So the title is called Out of Touch. That's the name of the title. Does that? It was written by Sam Levinson, directed by Sam Levinson, who is, of course, the creator of the series. Mm-hmm. So he is really guiding the ship where he wants to go in this season. He's setting up a lot of things here. So Out of Touch, what does that make you think of generally overall with everything you saw?
I mean, the first thing that came to mind personally was, oh my God, if this is high school, I am very out of touch.
Right. Yeah.
Not to age
so,
myself.
Children of the 80s and 90s are now looking at these kids of the 2000s.
And the energy they have. My God.
That's true. Yeah. All those who are out of touch, raise your hands.
But on like a more, Euphoria based level, I think, a couple things. One, it could be after a hit of a certain drug, you kind of lose touch with yourself and with reality. And that's something that Rue is struggling with right now. She's not sober, and she is out of touch of her own reality. And that could affect her relationship with Jules.
Yeah, that's so true. She thinks that she is able to live her life and have a relationship with Jules while beginning to do drugs again.
Yeah.
And that's totally a fantasy. That actually makes me think of what I think of this episode name and what seemed to be present in a lot of this episode was all of the fantasizing that all of these characters are doing throughout the episode. This had a lot of moments where it was very dreamy sequences where that was
Surreal.
supposed to be surreal, very out of touch. There's of course the stuff with Kat and her longing and desire to, you know, to reclaim her sense of self. And in season 1, she was doing that through like cam girling, and we'll talk about that. Very eye-opening fantasizing that was going on there. But then also Nate is fantasizing about Cassie. You know, he's envisioning this whole life that he wants to live with her. He thinks that he's projecting onto her that she's like the sweet one that he can have a baby with, a whole life with. And so a lot of fantasies going on. These kids, they are quite out of touch, if I was to offer my psychoanalytical view. So we had some predictions last episode that we should maybe touch on and see if they were accurate. We touched on Jules and Rue, the end of last episode.
Which I think you thought they would get together.
Yeah.
That happened.
So it happened. It's on shaky ground right now. It's at least going in that direction. They're together.
Yeah.
We'll see. Yeah. What happens there. And then also with Nate and Cassie. So we were wondering, you know, what's going to happen with them. Actually, we were wondering if Nate was going to be in a coma or if his whole face was going to look, if he was going to be done. He's moving on to other projects. No, he's very much back. He like had a black eye and some stitches, and he still looked like supermodel. Like, dude, I'm like, really? Really? Yeah, he bounced back. So he had some deep thinking initially. I think as far as our predictions from last time, we're on the right track. But that leads us right into the beginning of the episode, right? And it's Nate. It's Nate's face. He's getting wheeled into the hospital, or they're taking him out of the party.
Yeah. And it felt very Joker-esque.
Interesting.
The close-ups towards the end before it cuts to Euphoria, the title screen, he does that smile with the bandage, and he's all beaten, and it just gave a very gritty, sweaty Joaquin Phoenix and Joker vibes to me.
So what you're saying is that we're probably going to be seeing some evil, maniacal stuff twirling, some dancing downstairs from
Nate coming down. I hope so. I do think so. I think his dad has something to do with it too.
That's right.
The dad's storyline is going to be
Dad's back.
Yeah. So, but Nate survived, so that was kind of good. I think we both expected that and saw that coming.
Yeah, and he's in love now, right? So now he's in love with Cassie, supposedly. He's not acting on that relationship as we saw, or at least, you know, wanting to be with her and throw everything away, because there's a big road block, and that's Maddie. But that whole sequence of the beginning, which I thought was just, man, one of the best parts of the episode in terms of the filmmaking. I mean, like, also in, you know, part of the Sydney Sweeney of it all. Like, she's not afraid to just, you know, show herself out there, and like, more power to you. Like, she's killing it. But yeah, a lot of just great filmmaking touches that are going on. They're like cutting between, the hospital and then the fantasy sequences where she's like, you know, has a baby bump, and then you introduce the dad, Cal, back into the story. And then we remember, oh yeah, Cal, he's super messed up. He messed up Nate, his son. And it kind of touched on like the generational trauma that we like passed down from each other. I think Zendaya as Rue, who was narrating a whole lot of this episode, was really touching on a lot of that stuff. But that like montage right before the title credits was just like, oh God, I had to turn down the volume a little bit.
True. I kind of have an interesting take on that whole thing too.
We're here for interesting takes.
So in the first season, Nate and Jules had a relationship through their cell phone and through screens, essentially. Like once Jules discovered it was Nate, she was brokenhearted because that was traumatizing. I kind of think that Nate is also projecting this fantasy he had with Jules onto Cassie, because they are of similar coloring, you know, like the blonde and the pale. And I think Nate's also just getting out this really taboo relationship that he wasn't allowed to have openly because he, of course, didn't feel comfortable. Of course, the connection to his dad and Jules. I feel like in a weird way, maybe subconsciously, Nate is enacting his the relationship he wished he had, the physical relationship he wished he had with Jules onto Cassie.
Interesting. Okay, yeah, because that was something that he, that wasn't able to physicalize,
right.
But in this way now, there's some like physical similarities in terms of blonde-haired, young chick. Oh, interesting. Okay, yeah, because he's really, letting himself, like really letting his passion take over. Like they're not slowing down, even though they think it's a bad idea. They still seem to be magnets attracting.
Exactly.
Okay, yeah, that was a whole lot to take in the first part of this episode.
Right.
So that was, I'm glad that he's feeling better. And then we have Rue and Jules. So after that, we have their relationship
first
once
day
again.
Of school.
Yeah,
so
first
summer's
day of
over.
school.
Now we're back in school.
New Year's, it was like the first day after New Year's, and it's they're in the hallway, and it's like they're kissing, and then of course nothing good can stay for long here. And who do we see but Elliot, played by Dominic Fike, the newcomer of the season, in the wings. He comes over, and then it's like super awkward.
Which is also funny because what other high schooler has multiple face tattoos and
right? How come the guidance counselor isn't like right behind him? Yeah. That's a good point.
Kind of stuck out to me, but it's fine.
Yeah. He's it's in.
They're mature.
Yeah,
we're just
there's
out
no
of
dress
touch.
code there.
We're out of touch.
Yeah. So there was a level of awkwardness because Rue didn't tell Jules that she has this new friend. She was hiding how they met. And of course, Jules picks up on this, and she thinks, which was interesting, that Rue is like having a crush on this guy. So like exploring like the spectrum of like her, sexuality. It's something that Jules doesn't really, that she's insecure with, or that she's she's
well, we didn't know her preference or orientation before she met Jules, so who's to say that she hasn't dated men or women before? We don't know, so it's not out of the question that she would possibly have a crush on this guy.
Love is a spectrum. Like that's so true. So then they're thick as thieves. They're getting right back into it. They're enabling each other with their drug use, which Rue is continuing to do.
There's one line, I wrote it down because it truly...
Oh, and while you're finding that, of course, Dominic Fike as Elliot would be this like bedroom guitar rock, indie rock player noodling along to because like, of course, like he has the best gig in this whole show. He just got to like walk onto set, and Sam Levinson was probably just like, hey, we're going to like, whatever you want to do, like as far as a character, if you want to be yourself, just walk right on in. Like he's a musician who has the same tattoos, and I just think it's great. But they're playing to his strengths.
Totally. And every character here is intentional. Everyone cast, especially Faye, which
Fay's back.
She's back. And well, maybe not both of us, but I.
I thought she was going to be a throwaway character.
I did too, but she's not. She's back. But I did find it. So the line that Elliot says to Rue while they're in his room, he says, I feel like we don't bring out the best in each other.
Yeah. And
Rue says, I feel like I like that.
Yeah. I feel like I like that. Like, you like it now, but do you
Game
really?
On.
Because all the things are going well now. Let's see if you're still thinking that when everything falls apart.
Exactly. I think she does have a crush on him. I have an early prediction that I'll come back to at the end. I think they're gonna hook up.
You think so?
Yeah.
Do you think there's like that sexual tension energy that's building between them?
Yeah. I think whoever was on the couch with him, either his mom or his sister, I want to probably mom. When she's
friend, whoever,
it's like, oh, okay. Like, what do you mean? Like the little tap she gives him at the end. Like, there's something why else would he be there?
Yeah, he
You know?
seems like a very good guy. Like, he doesn't seem like he has any ulterior motives. He's obviously like battling drug addiction,
Right.
but he seems very level-headed in all the ways. If you can hear that siren, it's probably because they're trying to find the cast of Euphoria right now, just in all the things that they've been doing. He kind of is a caretaker in a way, or he asks Rue like, is everything wrong? Is anything like, wrong with like
Right.
the introduction with Jules and then doing drugs? He's very thoughtful.
He's kind of a Fez-like character that he cared so far from what we know. Again, this is episode 2 and we don't really know this guy at all, but
yeah, there seems
we're
to
optimistic,
be,
I think.
yeah, like a trust there. So I would agree. I think that there's for sure something. I mean, that's just, good writing. You just put a bunch of hot, horny kids together and someone's going to fall in love with the other one.
Yes.
So then after that, we had Cassie was once again reintroduced, her storyline, and exploring her self-esteem, and she's battling the feelings that she has for Nate. And then obviously with trying to be loyal to Maddie, but she really likes Nate. She's letting herself fall for him, and she's texting him when he's in the hospital. Right. And there's that line that Cassie loves to be loved. Don't we all? But she really has her identity formed around that. So
she is such a people pleaser, and that is her biggest downfall as just who she is as a character. Like, she needs to say no. And what was interesting towards the end of the episode, when I'm jumping ahead a bit, but like when her and Nate are in the car driving, he ends things with her saying, essentially, no, this relationship is done. And Cassie finally does say no, but she says no to Nate's no. No, we're not done. Like, I'm going to get out of the car. You're going to chase me. And then we're going to.
They hook up. So, So she asserts herself, but only because it's still a dependent relationship.
2 no's equals 1 yes in this situation. So
no means no, except for how Cassie is exploring this. I mean, you feel bad for her because, like, every time they close up to her face, it's like she just looks so hurt. She's just this like doe-eyed, hurt young, person who doesn't know any better, or she just can't help herself. All the other characters seem to have a sense of like, I can handle this. I'm like, this is like a mature, like, they
have a sense of autonomy. Like, they know who they are, what they like, what they don't like, and what they won't put up with.
Yeah, but
Cassie's just needing that. She's searching for that, and it's so obvious, and that's why she gets hurt all the time, because people take advantage of her. And she's, despite in the episode, Rue in the voiceover saying that Lexi is the one who's vulnerable, it's really Cassie. Yeah. That's a good point. They're both, in which we had a lot more of Lexi Maud Apatow in this episode too, which was also fascinating. But that one shot of Cassie with Nate's blood stained on her legs. When Lexi says, like, why do you still have Nate's blood like on your legs? She's like traumatized in a way, but she's like scrubbing off the blood on her legs, which is just like, oof. But also, I could see her keeping that on subconsciously again as just a reminder of, we were close. Like, we were this close. This is my connection to Nate still. And when I rub this off, it's going to be gone. Because then I'm entering the real world again, where the high school dynamics, thank you. Where the high school dynamics are that Maddie and Nate only, Cassie has no chance. So this spot of blood on my thigh is going to be my connection.
Yeah, well said. So she does rub off the blood, and we cut to Maddie's storyline. This part of the episode, it felt like it was the most fun of the episode. It almost didn't really advance the storyline forward unless we happen to, cut back or like circle back to Maddie being a babysitter or something. But it's so funny how she's just like chilling in the pool, just like living her best life. And then you see why she's babysitting. She loves to fantasize, right? Like kind of role play through putting on all of these extravagant dresses and the style and the earrings and all that stuff, which also brings this awesome needle drop moment, which is, we'll be talking about a lot of them. In fact, stay tuned for the end for our favorite needle drops. But one that happens we got to talk about is they played Judy Garland's Come Rain or Come Shine. I'd never heard the song before, but right when you start hearing Judy Garland, you're like, oh, I know who that is. And it just fits the vibe, the comedy of that moment.
Totally. And who Judy Garland was as a person fits Euphoria. That's like the Euphoria cast.
Older. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Just very like
pill pill popping like living in fancy Oz land.
Yes.
Exactly. All of our respect to Judy Garland, of course, but that was so funny.
Yeah.
And so is Maddie. Like Maddie is I'm starting to really enjoy the humor of seeing Maddie, how they utilize her character. They know her strengths as far as like her comedy, and it's just when she is so degaff herself. She's in the school, and when someone was warning Cassie about like, well, you can't tell, I think it was Nate was like, you can't tell Cassie, like Maddie will spend the rest of her life trying to kill me, but she'll kill you if she finds out. And it cuts to all that montage of Maddie like slamming people's heads into like doors and lockers and being like crazy violent. And just her attitude, her line deliveries are so good.
She's actually good at physical comedy too. The little tiny things she does in the very beginning, her and Sydney Sweeney as well, when they're running next to Nate in their little heels.
I love that shot. Yeah. You see Sydney's high heels, funny. And it was kind of like normal high heels, but then it cuts to Maddie's or Alexa Demi. And it's like the ones that wrap around the whole leg, and it's this like these clopping little shots. So funny. So she's putting on all of this fancy, expensive jewelry and clothes, and then the parents come home, Theo's parents. Come home, and she has this race to put everything back, and then she doesn't get caught, thankfully. But what was interesting was the mom says like, Maddie, can you come here a moment? So she brings her back. You think that she's going to get caught
because the drawer opened. It didn't fully close.
You got to make sure you close the door.
That's just like the ringing cell phone in the first episode.
Exactly. The smoking gun, the ringing cell phone. It's so then she asked if she could undo her dress. What was interesting was that, there's that little moment, and it didn't have to happen in the episode, but the writing, they made it a point that she puts her hand on top of Maddie in a very suggestive way. Usually you see that in maybe like a male role, taking advantage of like the babysitter. Exactly. Right. But you see the power dynamic is a woman, and Maddie isn't fazed by this necessarily, I don't think, in the episode. But it showed, and I think it ties back to Nate's dad. Like, this is generational trauma. And even Rue says this in her voiceover earlier in the episode. She says that, like, Nate's dad hurt him, and Nate's dad's dad hurt him. So it's like hurt people. And what these kids are battling is like all of the adults in their lives are also messed up too. And when they're making passes on the kids, then it's like, we have to give these kids a little grace and be like, oh, I kind of get why you're a little, messed up, or why you're battling through those issues. So I thought that was a very interesting moment.
Exactly. And I don't know, it's yet to be determined if this is going to be the generational pattern breakers, if this Euphoria group will be that. Because for some, I would love to see that happen. I would love for Nate to be able to, turn over a new leaf and face his demons and confront them, but I don't know if that's possible. What
prediction for the end of the series with the entire Euphoria cast all just like born again Christians, and they're all just like in white robes, and
they can all be polygamous and marry each other, and then they'll still have tons of sex if they want it.
Like, remember high school? That was crazy. The reunions can be fun. So the whole Maddie part circles back to Maddie. She's fantasizing again herself about like pregnancy too. There's that little moment. They cut back into the high school, the bathroom, and the girls, Maddie and Kat, are talking about Kat's new boyfriend, I guess, Ethan. So
good guy.
I loved that prose column. It was just like good guy, handsome guy, nice guy, like loves me or something. It was just so like vanilla and but he's a great guy.
But no cons.
No cons, which makes her realize maybe the con is with her because she is enjoying that relationship. Kat's enjoying it, but she's also there's this little like devil on her shoulder that's whispering, saying she's a little bit still unfulfilled. If we cut back to season 1, you see that she was feeling so much power and empowerment through. She has, I think, body issues or things that she's working through, and she was feeling empowered by her being on webcam.
Yeah,
and
she was
stuff.
playing a role. She was feeling empowered through this kind of disguise in a way. She hasn't figured out how to feel powerful in her own body yet.
Right, and Ethan was kind of giving her that, or was helping her realize that. But I think now that some of her friends are saying like, oh, like he's so boring. Oh, what was that one line that I love? Once again, Maddie coming in with the funniest line. She says, non-abusive relationships are actually triggering. She's like saying like, wait, so like he's like that good, you
He's
know?
not dark.
He's not dark. Like non-abusive relationships are actually triggering. And I mean, it's kind of true. So she is Kat's wrestling with that this episode. The episode goes back to show the fantasy sequences of Kat imagining like I guess being dominated, the submissive type.
Or what I kind of pictured that as what she wishes Ethan was. Clearly, when she's telling the girls, from what I took from it, when she's telling the girls in the bathroom, oh, he ripped my clothes off, she goes into her locker and cries because have they had sex?
I don't
think they
so.
have. I think that's just
a lot
her,
of just heavy petting stuff.
Yeah, like that's just her projecting and wishing he would do that, even though I don't know if she truly wants him to. It's sometimes things can be tricky in high school.
It's the urges.
It's just wanting to be seen in that way, whether or not you want that to actually happen to you.
Yeah.
Whereas Cassie is seen by people all the time, and Maddie are seen by people all the time, and everyone gives them so much attention and they're just kind of used to it. I think Kat would want that, but doesn't actually want that to happen to her. Just the idea of someone wanting her sexually is something that she wants.
Yeah, the empowering part for sure. And that's very much literalized through this huge Game of Thrones like warrior guy who's coming to take her in her bed.
Jason Momoa at first.
I thought it was too. So that was very clearly a Game of Thrones like wink and a nod. Because I think that was supposed to be a not direct reference to the Jason Momoa the Mother of Dragons relationship, and there's a very intense sort of scene it's very similar, and like my God, we saw a whole lot of what this guy was wielding. So this warrior was
mighty sword, this guy.
Anyways,
moving on.
Yeah, a little fun for everyone.
Well, let's talk. We haven't talked about Rue yet.
We haven't. No, we haven't.
She didn't have a ton. She was kind of a backstage, a supporting character, I would say, in this episode.
Yeah.
Although I did love the fact in the introduction of Coleman Domingo.
We got Coleman Domingo back. Ollie's back.
So happy to see him. I was hoping it wouldn't just be, the pandemic episode and then he was done.
Yeah.
But that was so great. And I don't know. I kind of think he and Rue's mom might spark something.
This show is just like, it's true. Like I could feel that tension, that energy. The fact that she says he's cute, like, it could just be a simple line, or it could be, oh man, how messed up would that be if like Rue's sponsor then becomes like a sort of father surrogate.
Already a parental figure in a way because you're looking out for someone, but then to be by law here.
I mean, down the line, but hopefully, that would be the best person in her life to try and set her straight, because obviously Rue is still battling these demons. Coleman Domingo as Ollie is hopefully going to, he realizes that she's relapsed and she goes back to the meeting. And I love Rue's attitude in this whole episode. I mean, she was like stoned or high for a lot of the episode, but she's like on her bike and she's just so out of it and stoned, and she like just sees things and notices things. And in the voiceover, she's like, oh, that's weird. And we're just like the attitude of her hopping on that electric wall chair and her just riding it up, just like the baddest chick.
She has the best smirk. Yeah. I wish I could smirk like she does. Like, you just kind of want to smack her, but you're like, but I like you. Yeah, and I like that.
Yeah, this like half glazed eyes, like very. I try to do it, I can't do it. So she's one. She's one of one.
One of one.
Yeah,
exactly. Well, Jules. Speaking of Rue, let's talk about Jules in this episode. What I love. So Hunter Schafer, who plays Jules, is an artist,
right,
as well.
Yeah,
and some of her artwork, I think it's on her Instagram too. If you haven't seen, or you guys haven't seen,
I haven't checked out too much of it.
It's really good, and I want to say, I don't know 100%, but what she's drawing in this episode looks just like some of the artwork she's actually done on her own. Okay. And I think that was a really cool touch. If that is actually her work, the fact that it's kind of featured there, and she's doing it as, you know, bringing kind of a personal thing into her character was interesting.
That's a good point. I mean, I'm not like giving, when I say Dominic Fike being able to play guitar is like, oh, is that really your character or you? I guess it's like interesting that Sam Levinson and the team is all picking up on like, let's make these as real people and, you know, blur that line as much as possible.
Yeah. Well, actually, I watched, it was like a Vogue, British Vogue or Vogue Get Ready With Me for Alexa. And she was going to the Euphoria season 2 premiere, and she was talking about how in this season she worked with the costume designer to give more input on what clothes she would wear as her character. Because she was just saying, this makes me feel more comfortable, or I think she would be dressing this way. And it's interesting that the creators behind the scenes are, trusting the characters to bring them to life because they do know them best. And I think it's really doing a good job, because we all can just kind of connect more by seeing these little nuanced things that are being brought into the false reality that is Euphoria.
Yeah, that's true. I love any time that they'll bring any more art in. So just keep bringing that art. It's great. What does Jules decide to do but go bowling to, like, you know, deal with her stresses? So she calls Maddie and they go bowl. I guess there is still some wholesomeness in this town yet.
Yeah, she was also a supporting character in this episode for sure. This definitely focused more on Nate and Cassie and Fez.
We're back to Fez. So Fez is, he's back. He's okay for now. The shoe hasn't dropped. I guess they showed that Ashtray was like pissed at Fez for even putting them in this position. Was that right? I thought that they said that Ashtray was like mad at Fez for what happened. I mean, he probably understood why he did it. Anyways, they're in hot water. So Fez is back. And I think throughout this episode, what's also been happening was that Nate's dad, Cal, he's also back. He seems to be like the only adult in this show that I think, now that I think about it, that's there's Ollie, but he just seems like the most prominent adult in this whole town. I'm like, is there any other adults here besides this one just psycho?
There's a couple, but Cassie and Lexi's mom was always drinking wine in the first season.
Yeah.
I don't know if that counts, but
yeah, she was hilarious too. So Cal is trying to find the answers as to who beat my son to a bloody pulp
and why.
Yeah, and so he gets it out of Cassie, who is fearful that her texts are going to be read and that the cops are going to reveal this whole thing with her and Maddie. So she tells him it's Fez. So Cal's psychotic dad knows that it's Fez. And that's like the most dramatic tension of the whole episode.
Oh yeah. The score too, in that scene, it kind of reminded me of a modern day Western in a weird way. Not the
liquor
music.
Store.
Yeah. Not necessarily the music, but just the tension of how you know what's about to happen and everyone's being really quiet, and just the chip bag was making so much noise, and you're just like,
that chip crackle kringle was so well played, and you didn't know because he has a piece in his jacket, and
it gave him a president instead.
No bill larger than $20. At least he did that. So, so that's setting up that he knows Yeah, that Fez did it.
Right. Which, as we know, we kind of jumped to the end before we get to our prediction section of the segment Aftershow, which I absolutely love. But now, after Nate and Cal had the chance to talk in the bedroom.
Oh yeah, the very end, last shot.
Yeah, I'm maybe jumping ahead, but
no, we're here.
So Cal was on a mission to find who beat up his son because he is a tough guy. Like he doesn't want to see his son as a victim. He wants to just seek revenge for that reason. But now he has another reason to seek revenge, knowing that Fez knows about his relationship with Jules. His encounter, not relationship, his encounter with Jules.
Yes.
So now I don't think Cal would not use a gun on Fez. I think that is now a target on Fez's head. Double.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Right? So before it might have just like scared him a little bit.
Yeah, like don't fuck with my son. I could beat you up too.
I can beat you up, but now
that
Nate's told him that that he knows and Rue knows and all these people know that you have had an illegal encounter with an underage girl that's like that is gonna that could criminalize you. And so that is
so what's easier, take Fez out?
Yeah, just like Sopranos mafia style, like we're gonna see just justice people trying to do things to silence people.
That was a great ending too, because they did tee it up a bit when they do the flashback of Maddie flipping through Nate's book, finding the CD.
Yeah.
And then, taking it. And Nate realizing he's lost possession of this CD.
Yeah, and that has all the evidence on it.
Right. We knew it was coming, but him not admitting it yet, we just know that's how they're going to open season 3. It's like, Cal's just going to be fuming.
Yeah, just smoke coming out of the ears. Hopefully Fez has enough energy to realize what's going on. He's like, what's going on? Oh,
maybe he'll just put Faye in front of him as a human shield.
Yeah, Faye's back. She is,
I guess.
such a funny character. It's funny, but like traumatic, of course. It's so sad that she is just like so debilitated by this drug use. The fact that she is, how they reintroduce her in that motel, the guy is trying to like stuff her into this vent, which only she could ever fit into. This like little tiny person stuffs her into this vent, and
the
she's
line
just like a sardine.
Was, "Get in the vent. I love you." But I did find something really funny.
What I say, yeah.
So the actress, her name is Chloe Cherry, and I don't think she's done a ton of work many of us have seen on TV.
Oh, okay.
If you
on
catch
public,
my drift, on
access.
public access TV. Her IMDb little bio says very cute and slim, 5'7" blonde, Chloe Couture. Oh, Chloe. I guess she goes also by Chloe Couture.
Chloe Couture. Wow. Great name.
Was born in August. Grew up in Pennsylvania and lost her virginity at age 16.
Okay, that's quite a bio. That's what IMDb says?
Yeah, I'm not making it up.
Okay, wow. Getting really real there. Well,
if you wanted to know more about
I hadn't
Faye.
known anything about Faye before, and now I feel like I know too much. So beyond that, it's there's a lot. So they're developing so many of these characters, which again, I really liked that they did it in this episode more than in loved the premiere just for how tense every single moment was. But now it feels like these pieces are really set in stage.
Yeah, you've laid out the breadcrumbs, and now we think we know which direction we're going to go. Who's in for a wild ride.
Yeah.
Yes. So let's jump to the special part of this segment, which is your favorite part. If you could pick one of your favorite parts of the episode, what would that be?
Good question. And hopefully you guys are following along, and hopefully, if anything that we say at any point rings true with you, definitely, drop a comment here. We want to hear what your favorite parts were, all the things we're about to say, your favorite music moment, all this and that. So, but now we'll just share what ours are. So my favorite moment, kind of hard to say. I mean, the whole beginning of the episode, there was so much going on, and that was like turbocharging so much filmmaking going on with the present day Nate in the hospital and him fantasizing having this ideal fairy tale life with Cassie, and bringing the dad back, and they're at like the pool, and what does he say? That guy's just like the creepy line, like want to let like your dad like help you float in the pool or something.
Like pregnant person in the pool or something weird.
Yeah. So that wasn't my favorite part, but the whole
okay, freak.
that whole beginning sequence of all of the filmmaking I thought was the strongest. So I would think that, but you know what? I think my favorite part was just the Maddie stuff. Like that whole sequence was just so funny. I love that shot that when Maddie's trying to call Nate, who's with Cassie in the truck. If you see it, it's a blink and you'll miss it moment, but she calls Nate from her phone and she has him saved in her phone as fuck Nate. And like, that's who she is. I was cracking up every single time she was on camera.
That reminded me of how smart that she called and FaceTimed Nate and then immediately FaceTimed Cassie, and they both didn't answer. Did you catch that?
Oh, you know, I didn't. I thought that she FaceTimed Nate afterwards.
She called Nate and then FaceTimed Nate and then FaceTimed Cassie. Oh. And Cassie didn't answer either. So she's thinking that.
Yeah, her wheels are always spinning.
Yeah.
Yikes.
That's good. I think my favorite scene, for no real reason other than I just really liked it and I really like Kat, is the scene where all of the influencers, I guess, or her inner voice and inner critics are all coming out.
Love yourself. Love yourself. I'm like, oh, God damn.
Yeah. I really liked and appreciated the surreal scenes in this episode, and every one of them took place essentially well, not everyone, but a lot of the good ones took place in Kat's room, and they dealt with Kat. And I think that's what so many people go through all the time, is just hearing these conflicting voices in your head. And now they're given a figure, even though they're a figment of her imagination, they're not real, but that's what it sounds like for someone who has, you know, a mental health issue and they're trying to work through it. And that just was such a good visualization of what's going on in her head. Yeah. And I really liked that scene a lot.
Yeah, totally. That is definitely worth mentioning. And I like how they commented on the fact that what Kat is feeling insecure about is this ideal body image standard that was very literally called out in the episode about, I had it written down somewhere. But basically, the heteronormative patriarchy society of like the beauty of what beauty looks like to a white cis male. And it like is so true that is what she is feeling insecure about, is that literal depiction of like what society thinks is beautiful. You know, on the whole, on the most part, she like hears this and it's so rationalized. Like, you shouldn't feel insecure because that's not what, you know, beauty is. You should just love yourself. And yet she still feels that way because she lives in like this world.
Of course, we all feel that way.
It, right?
We all have Instagram. We all feel that way. Like any sort of filter we put on or see other people put on, it's that, well, maybe I just should speak for myself, always will trigger like, oh, this person, like what I'm lacking now in this department because this person looks this way. Yeah. And everyone kind of deals with that thing. And this is, I'm kind of surprised this hasn't been talked about more in the show, to be honest, because everyone is so social media kind of focused, and we are taking place, Euphoria takes place now. And so we all have Instagram and whatever. And it's such a problem. And she's definitely not alone in feeling that way. Yeah, that's true. She is like the for sure representation of that insecure feeling, and great moment of the episode. So we also have the best needle drop moment. So Euphoria is known for having banger soundtrack every episode, always 10 out of 10. But some songs stand out more than others. Yes. What was your favorite needle drop moments? Okay, so this song I liked the song, but I also liked how it was placed. So that's why I'm going to say that Laura Less, Haunted, is my needle drop pick for this episode.
Okay.
If you're not familiar, which I didn't realize until I Googled it real quick, but Laura Less is from the hyperpop group 100 Gex. And they are very fast paced, upbeat, kind of, hyperpop. And
Okay, yeah.
this was placed after Rue was giving a voiceover about Lexi and how Lexi was really passive. And as soon as she says passive like 2 or 3 times, and vulnerable and just quiet. And then they drop this song that is so aggressive and so manic. And it just was a really interesting placement and choice to use this song, because this was totally the opposite of who Lexi is as a character. But I think what that does is it's giving Lexi the boost that she needs to then go see Fez, and giving the audience a little bit more of a reason to think that she has some agency and she's actually going to not be passive anymore. She has a spark that's going to ignite throughout the rest of the season. And yeah, don't count Lexi out.
Right. So true. Yeah, that's a great character commenting use of the song beyond just like sounding good. It's true.
They all these songs, I think, have deeper meanings than just, oh, this sounds nice here. Like there's a whether it's the song title, which we kind of figured out last episode, that a lot of titles played together.
Right. Yeah.
There's a reason why these songs are chosen and picked.
Yeah. Music supervisors, you just guys keep killing it.
Yeah. What about you?
So I think that the one that stood out was that Judy Garland song, that "Come Rain or Come Shine."
Yeah.
I think that was the name of it. Is that right? Come Rain, Come Shine. Yeah. So that I had never heard that song before, and I just thought, I love when they will throw it back to something that is so timeless, and they do that infusion of the present moment with something so timeless. In the last episode, it was "Don't Be Cruel," but it was that cover as well too. So it seems like there's, for every of the moment hyper pop timely song, we're also getting something that is like very classic in nature,
nostalgic.
Too. And speaking of something that we heard before too, this is the second time that we've heard that song "Right Down the Line" by Jerry Rafferty, I believe. That song was in the last episode with Fez and Rue when they go to the drug dealer's house, and that's when that guy's doing the creepy dance. And obviously, you can look into it as a pretty literal depiction of right down the line, right down the line, and what are Elliot and Rue doing? But they're putting their drugs up on, and if you notice, it was on a philosophy book, because of course, like so deep. But yeah, I remember just like hearing it again this time. I'm like, wait, they played that last time. I also am rocking out to it again. I'm wondering why they did that. Like, was it something that is just on the Spotify drug dealers playlist? Like, you just got to play this song every time. I mean, it's a great song. It fits the tone too, but maybe they got the like clearance and were like, well, we can use it for another episode. Why not?
That is interesting. I don't know. I can't really, I mean, maybe it's just because she kind of swayed a bit too. Maybe it's just, that's how you get loose or something.
And it might be like Rue's, this sort of thing that we'll follow the rest of the series and see what happens. But in both times it was played with her. And it's like almost this thing that's following her.
Yeah, theme song.
It might grow more sort of haunting the more rotations that we get of this song.
Interesting.
We'll see. I hope it doesn't ruin this song for me.
Start crying when you hear it next.
Yeah, I don't want that. It's a great song. So yeah, great needle drop moments. And then whatever the last song was, the episode was, I couldn't even find what it was. I tried to Google it, tried to Shazam it. There was like the one that this cuts to after Nate's face. It was whatever rap
it was
song.
Really fast rap.
If you guys know what it is, put it in the comments.
Ryan
I want to
would
know.
Be so happy if you knew the song. It's probably SoundCloud somewhere.
It's probably
It's probably an unreleased song.
TikTok, yeah.
Or TikTok. Oh my God, it probably is a TikTok song.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're assuming now.
Yeah.
So the next category we have is our most what the fuck moment, which we have plenty to choose from.
Always
In every episode. So it's hard to narrow down to one. Mine, I'll share mine real quick. It's not really
Please.
a moment. It's more just a dress choice. I think it was hilarious how Maddie was babysitting in heels, a crop top, and a jean skirt. Like she's babysitting a child wearing heels.
Right. Wasn't it like a see-through top too or something? Or
I don't think, maybe that's just what you were wanting.
No, I thought it was. Maybe it was
I
the
don't think
lighting.
it was. I think it was just like a cap crop top.
Oh, I thought it was like that last shot where she was coming back down the hallway, and I thought it was like some
Maybe.
fashionably 90s sort of thing.
It
Not
could
like,
be. It
but
could be. Maybe her bathing suit was underneath because she was in the pool.
right.
That could have been it. But I absolutely love how that's what she decided to wear while babysitting in like a mansion where she has to probably go up and down stairs.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That was the
kind of
most
it.
WTF moment.
I mean, just in more of a practical sense.
I can stomach everything else, including that Game of Thrones huge like
Well,
barbarian.
that felt too obvious. Like, of course, but that's also like in a surreal way.
Yeah.
That's okay. Well, in a surreal world, anything goes.
Mm-hmm. Well, I thought it was
Yeah.
funny how they handled Ethan right before that. Like he goes to the bathroom and then like,
Oh yeah.
the blood spurting out of his chest after he was just like slain, and then he like falls on the floor too. Was it was quite humorous. Yeah. So I mean that was quite a WTF moment. And then also just seeing Cal back in the story, and like there's this shot of his like, you know, sexual preference of, you know, it's like it tells his whole story and his desires in one shot, and it's him, and he's like engaging in this like sex act with
A minor.
with minor. Well, in the beginning of the episode, right? I forget. There's like someone who's basically he's like underneath someone's
right.
like
A man.
but yeah, something.
Right.
Yeah. So not that all I'm saying is that his return was maybe the most, you know, WTF moments. Like
That's
not like
true.
anyone's sex act, but his return, what I felt like the most uneased by it.
Yeah. What I did notice throughout this episode too is every scene that Cal was in was very cold and sterile and blue. And every one that he was in with Nate was the same. And clearly that's not what we got from some of the other characters. That's intentional. And that is just, we shouldn't feel good that he's back.
Mm-hmm.
That lighting alone tells us that he's someone that like we don't want to be in a scene with. And so, yeah. That's something I just noticed. But,
yeah, it'll give you the chills, no doubt.
Yeah.
All right. So the most memeable moment, was there a most memeable moment, some shot or something that you could instantly turn into a meme? I think I have one.
I want to hear this so
bad. And it really is just one frame of the shot. And it's Rue.
Okay.
And it's Rue, and she's in the hallway in high school.
Oh, I know
and,
what you're gonna do.
And there's a line that goes with it. I think, does Zendaya say or Rue say like, I think we should do drugs? Like that says, and she just does that. We were talking about it earlier. She does this smirk, and she does this like face crane towards the shot with the glazed eyes and this little smile. And I'm like, that could be such a meme, like
for sure.
You know,
It's like the
plans
SpongeBob
tonight.
meme.
Yeah, it's that SpongeBob meme where he's like, you know, catching Squidward liking Krabby Patties. It's that sly sort of like. So that was great. I also love the electric chair. Her just like riding the electric chair up the wall.
Yeah.
I feel like those two moments could be very memeable. So
Yeah.
Rue, Zendaya, you win the most memeable moments from my heart this episode.
That's good. I liked the face.
You know what I'm talking about.
I totally know what you're talking about. So I started laughing when she did that.
Yeah.
So for me, the most memeable moment was the line. So Cassie and Maddie are in the pool and they're floating.
Yes.
And Cassie says something that abstinence is a spiritual journey. I think that would be really funny on anything. Abstinence is a spiritual journey.
Oh man, so many zingers, so many great lines.
Yeah,
such fans.
And Sam Levinson wrote it, so kudos, Sam.
Yeah, he knows the strengths of
his characters.
So good. All right, that leads us to predictions for the next episode. You know, what's happened now? So we have the last shot was Nate and Cal confronts Nate, saying, "Do you want to tell me why some drug dealer beat you up?" And Nate reveals that it's because he knows what you don't know that I know, and that's because you had this, like sexual activity with this underage person, and what's going to happen next. And Cal asks, do you have the tape, or do you have the CD?
Yeah.
And so that's going to come out. He doesn't.
He's like, do you have it? Do you have it?
Do you have it?
He
Yeah.
just doesn't say.
Because
he doesn't.
Because he doesn't. So now it's, anyone who has that. Now Maddie, I think, is the one who has possession of it. Whether she knows what's on it to the full extent or not is another thing. But yeah. So who do we feel most scared for?
Oh God, Fez.
Fez.
For sure. I mean, Nate's dad is a scary man.
Yeah.
And
he's connected too. He knows all of he knows the police and the sheriff and whoever else.
Right. Yeah. And he's now has Faye to take care of. And I mean, one of my predictions kind of leading into it is I think Lexi is going to stick with Fez.
That's true. Yeah, that's what you had said, and I think it's true. I mean, there's like this moth to the flame mentality.
Exactly.
She's developing too.
She wants to kind of prove it to herself too, that she's not this passive person. Like she kind of is now seeing something that she can be a part of, and that's exciting and different. And she's kind of dipping her toe in the water, not necessarily super enthusiastic that this is the road that it's going down with just violence and drugs and everything. But I think Lexi is going to continue to follow Fez and support him in the way he needs to. But I feel the most afraid for Fez for sure. Yeah,
quite literally, I would say that's a pretty good prediction for sure.
And I actually feel afraid for Cassie. Because I think Maddie.
If you think that like the wrath of Cal is bad, like really the wrath of Maddie, I don't know who I'm more scared of, Cal or Maddie. When you know that Maddie inevitably is going to find out.
Oh, she has a hint. She knows.
It's dropping this groundwork right now. I mean, all of those montages of just all the moments where Maddie was like ramming chicks' heads into lockers and stuff like that. It was almost comedically. Just like so violent.
It felt like Mean Girls in a way too.
Yes.
Didn't it?
Yes.
That one montage.
Yeah, for sure. Like this is Regina George.
Yes.
As well as
Katie Heron.
Yeah. And I was going to say just some I don't know, WWF wrestler or something.
Or that too.
She's scary, but scared for sure for Cassie too. And hopefully Rue is, she's not going to stop doing drugs anytime soon. It's going to take another big.
She has to hit a rock bottom. Mm-hmm. She has to lose Jules to see the light and realize no one's going to be there for her. Yeah,
and unfortunately, that's going to probably thrust her further into like a darker, place. Mm-hmm. So stay tuned next time for episode 3.
Well, one thing I actually wanted to quickly recall.
Yeah, is there anything else before we wrap up?
Yeah, one of I guess another favorite part is there was a lot of callbacks to episode 1.
There was a lot of flashbacks.
Well, and just callbacks aesthetically and everything. Mm-hmm. One is when Nate and Cassie are driving and they do another close-up on Cassie's fingernails on her legs. She's uncomfortable sitting in the passenger seat again with Nate driving. And it's not that he's going fast. She doesn't know where she's going.
That's true. He's leading her into a place she says, I've never been this far out of town before.
She just is so trusting and so vulnerable.
Yeah. And where are they? It's like this unmarked housing development place where they're just, why does he need to drive her all the way out there to say he can't be with her? Very scary behavior.
Very scary behavior. And it was interesting to me how we're kind of recycling songs and we're recycling shots and actions. And I wonder why.
Well, I wonder if it goes back to just the repetitive nature of making the same mistake and not taking the corrective behavior to not make it anymore. So it's always going to be on this looping cycle until you break that chain,
the pattern and stuff.
The pattern. But so they're going to continue making the same mistakes until they, grow or change. And unfortunately, I don't think that that's going to be in episode 3 because we still have a lot more season to go.
That is very true. Oof.
And there we have
Wow.
it. Full season 2, episode 3 recap. It's episode 2. Pardon me, getting way ahead of myself. I can't even wait. Recap. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any comments, questions, you guys want to, start a conversation here in the comments, please do. We want to keep the conversation going until next week as well. Friends of mine have even been asking me like, oh, I haven't caught up on the show. Like, should I watch it? And I'm finding I'm like, yeah, you got to catch up on this. Like,
oh yeah,
it's very, I don't really know any other show right now that I'm as like hooked on. So
right. Yeah.
give it a
This is
watch.
Definitely the show to be watching. If you need a jolt of of life on your Sunday nights, you want to feel alive.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Watch Euphoria. But yeah, again, thanks for watching. We are both on social media. We're at Cinemacy on Instagram. If you want to find us there and leave us a comment talking about this show or any other movie, kind of in general, any A24 movie we're big fans of. Find us.
Yeah, Hollywood Critics Association, also on all the socials. Subscribe to the Hollywood Critics Association page, which you're on right now. And we hope to see you next time as we keep talking about this lovely little show of ours.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks, guys.